Alrighty. What time is it? Where's my other phone? It is morning time. And I thought I had it. It is December 29th, 2025. It is almost 2026, but not yet. Not yet. I'm still trying to not figure out, but pick up on what it is I'm gonna be talking about on this day. And I was at the gym, and it came to me, because I've done the previous recordings, and it came to me to not be don't try to figure it out while you're at the gym. Just be meditating, focus on what you gotta do here, while you're in just be present, kind of. Be present. And it was whatever you're gonna talk about is gonna come to you, right before you record or start recording, or right when you're ready to record. That's how it be coming through. Because I can have a whole plan, and then I sit down and I can feel it, nah, that ain't it. It's going to be this. So I'm feeling into that, and I am getting something. So let me just first acknowledge the day. It is Monday, which for me translate, well, it's not just to me, but the word does translate to day one. So it's first of something. And then December 29th is 12/29, which is 3/11, which is 5. I don't know what my personal day is, because that's on the other thing, but it's a 5 day. So it's a day, according to these numbers, it's a day of change, of forward movement. My life path is 5. So that is the life path that I travel. My life path number is 5. So it's about change. It's about it. There's chaos, but it's chaos for the sake of change. It's basically destruction for the sake of construction. It's there's something new that has to be built, so we got to break down the old. My life path 5 energy is that energy of breaking down the old, but also the building of the new. So it's all that energy and motion of creating. So yeah, I'm getting the concept of being present. That's the topic. That's the focus for this this conversation that I'm having by myself this morning. So being present, which is interesting because something I've been thinking about lately is presents, gifts. Gifts, presents. So the presence of something, but also presents, being gifted a present for Christmas. And Christmas was just last week. So, but I also just got with that. So I feel like the message is coming together. And I'm hearing be bold, own it. Be bold, own it. Be bold, own it. And that word own has also been playing, coming up around me and inside of me. So when I'm hearing the be bold, be bold, well, be bold, be present. That's what was about to come out. So I got to write that down. Be bold, be present. But also it's the idea of knowing that my presence is a gift. Ooh. I'm writing that down. Knowing that my presence is a gift. Wow. So I think I'm to dive into that. I just saw an image of diving in, like literally into the water. uh, that's deep. And it also is assisting with my, like, just remembrance of, um, and my acknowledgement of the fact that this, like, series of talks, I guess, whatever, that I'm committed to right now is my mystic path, right? So, um, and it's basically supposed to be breakdowns of my path, uh, that is very mystical, you know, and very spiritual and very, um, it's like logical, but it's also illogical, you know, because things be happening that defies logical explanation in my life since I was young, you know, to show me that, you know, this ain't no regular life. This ain't no regular presence. Okay, so I just want to dive into that, like my presence being a gift. And I know that sounds egotistical as fuck, but that's why I said that I heard, you know, be bold and own it, because I have to be reminded of that part. Because growing up, I wasn't about the ego. I was not about the ego. Um, my ego was very, it was like a seedling, you know, it was like an infant. I gotta turn off this big light. I'm sorry, one moment. Pausing. Okay. Yeah, it's like growing up, it was the ego wasn't huge for me, like, at least not consciously, but also I'm a very conscious person, and most of the time I move very consciously, even as a kid, as a child. So it was very important to me to be humble, to be um but I was about to say to be unseen if I could, which is true. Even to this day, I often prefer to be unseen. So, you know, I live that way when I don't have to work. I be at home. Don't nobody live with me, you know. And oftentimes, I mean, yeah, I'll stay at home as much as I can. And you know, it's also though to add balance to my life, because at work I am in high demand. Like my position, my skill sets, my tasks, my duties, just the nature of my role, it's in high demand. So a lot of people need my attention, my energy, like all throughout the day. It's very hard for me to be unseen at work. Like I've had to let that go. Like, nah, like that's just not gonna happen. You know, it's like spirit talking to me like that's not gonna happen. And I think about my chart, my astrology chart, and it's true because most of my energy in terms of my planets and stuff, they're below the horizon. So it's a lot of internal energy, which makes so much sense. I'm definitely an introvert. However, I have my moon is right above the horizon, so it's in my seventh house. Um, but still, the moon is still an internal energy, right? But then I have some energy in the 10th house. Not so most of my stuff is below the horizon, but that 10th house shit, it goes hard. Like, yeah, because Jupiter is there. Jupiter and Chiron, and then both of those are retrograde energies, but they're in the 10th house, you know, so and that 10th house gets a lot of, at least these days, no, pretty much always, like in the workspace, um, I am far from invisible, like always have been, I think always will be, you know, but I think because I have so much energy below the horizon, I'm much more comfortable with the internal, with the being away from all that out there. Like I'm not even on social media, you know, like I don't put myself out there. I used to, before I realized how uncomfortable it made me, and I think that's because, again, I already have that out there energy with work. So I don't need no more out there energy. I don't need to be out there. I'm not outside. Look, I'm not outside. I'm inside. I am inside. So I think as I'm going through this concept of, I'm thinking about it like my presence being a gift, it's almost like a message that I'm getting from my spirits and I'm sharing as I'm getting it. Cause it's like Beyonce. I love Beyonce, okay? Beyonce, first of all, we're both Life Path 5. And yeah, I did like look that up. I'm also Life Path 5. Well, Jay-Z is also Life Path 5 and Kelly Rowland is Life Path 5. That's crazy. But me and Beyonce, we have a lot in common, like astrologically, for real. And so she does this. I think when she matured and she started pulling back from the public and she focuses on her craft, and then she pops out with her work, her project, it's she creates. It's like she has this internal, and I don't know her whole chart, so I'm not like that obsessed. But I when with the whole thing, like when she dropped the Beyonce album, and it was unadvertised. And I remember I was working at the post office. I was working in the distribution center in LA, and I was working overnight. That was my first graveyard job. And I remember I was obsessed with that album. Like we could listen to music and stuff, which was so great. And I remember I was out of college and I was just kind of like in between and just trying to find myself out there in the world. Now that I was away from college, and I was also going through this case. It was crazy. It's over now, but I just remember being so obsessed with her album. And I remember like there was this guy, we was cool, we became cool, and he was like teasing me about it. Like I remember one time he was like, "What you listening to?" He's like, "You listening to that Beyonce, ain't you?" And I was like, "How you know?" I was so obsessed, like Drunken Love, Partition. I was so obsessed with that album. But I was even more intrigued by how beautiful it was of a project, and the fact that she had not advertised. Like that was one of the first. I think that was like the first time somebody had dropped like that without advertising. I don't know, something tells me Lil Wayne had done it before maybe, but nobody that I was really like tapped into. And I remember before that, I used to really like be kind of critical of her because I was like raised in church, and there would be all this talk about her being devilish and blah 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 blah, literally like that. I remember there was a time I was, what's the word, fervently against sacred music because I was, I was not yet awakened like I am now. Beyonce is a very spiritual person, and she's like spiritually, like people who talk about being chosen, quote unquote, she would be one of them. High ranking spiritually, like she's a spiritual person. Anyway, I just remember after that, like I changed in terms of my perspective of her. And it wasn't so consciously, like I was aware of, like a part of it had to do with like how she dropped her album and it wasn't even advertised. That was a part of it, but not so much. It was more like, I don't know, I think I just started to pay more attention to the way she moved. And so I really got intrigued with the whole like being out of the public eye, basically like not doing interviews no more, which I totally relate to that because it's this thing of, I think it's a Life Path 5 thing where like if you are not cautious and careful, like the transparency, I think is something about Life Path 5 because again, it's like destruction and construction at the same time. So you really don't have the privilege of being so cookie cutter, or being so like um scripted. Like you are literally the energy of change in motion. Like, whereas other energies can be like, they're so settled. They're settled in their energy. Life path 5 and number 5 is very unsettled. There is no settling, right? Like, there is no settledness at all. Like, you have to recognize, like, there's always something up in the air, you know. And so it's almost like, okay, say an emergency happens, ain't no faking nothing, ain't no pretending nothing, ain't no faking nothing. You about to show your ass, like, you about to show your real self in raw form. That's something that was coming up to me yesterday. In raw form, you are about to be seen for exactly who you are. You about to show exactly who you are, because you ain't even thinking about how you're coming off. No, you just trying to survive. You just trying to, like, get real. Not get real, but I mean, you have no choice but to be real. So that part there. So when she was talking her interviews and stuff, she people criticize her because she's so transparent, and she wasn't, like, trying to be something that she ain't. And I feel like anytime she was convinced to do something that she probably shouldn't have done, or to try and come off as something that she's not, which is a particular example and it went viral. And I think, that was something to show her, even that, like, nah, you're not made for pretense. You're not made for pretense. You are made for, to be genuine. And I think that's also why, like, in her shows, and that's something that I really come to love about her, and I think a lot of people have as well, like, her imperfections, right? Because she can come off very, very obviously very, like, perfect or whatever. I think also the Beyonce album, Pretty Hurts, I believe, was in that album. I think that was one of the songs I fell in love with too. But she she talks about her imperfections, and how, and also, but she's Virgo. Virgo and perfection go hand in hand, like white on rice, But her imperfections, like falling on stage, all these incidents that she has had to occur, I think spiritually it's on purpose, because her imperfections have to be shown, because she's not a settled energy. Virgo is very earth, and you would think it's also very settled, but actually Virgo was like volcano. Virgo was like, because Virgo is mutable energy, and I'm rising Virgo, and 29 degrees rising Virgo, which is a coincidence that I bring that up because today is the 29th, so I might need to look out for that. 29 degrees Virgo. I don't think it's an easy degree, but like, she she's had all these imperfections happen with her shows and stuff, and she just keeps going. But I think also it might have been like a spiritual lesson for her to accept, because it's like, babe, you're Virgo, and you got all these other things about you as well that make you this easy, like, easily you're a star, easily born to be a star. But also, you're human. And it's like there's such purpose behind Life Path 5 of, like, this stardom energy, while also showing yourself to be human as well. That imperfection, So anyways, I wasn't supposed to be talking about Beyonce so long, but I'm just saying, like, that part of her has really, like, taken to me, because I relate to that. It's like, and I think there's a thing to where, like, you have to make sure you're not being portrayed as too perfect, because that shit it can break you, And I think that's what happens with a lot of stars and celebrities and people who get into the public, like, which is funny I'm talking about that, because 10th house is public figure energy. They come off as very perfect, and they prefer that, and they want to keep it that way. But it's not. That's not the way it's supposed to be. Not in this dimension where we live. So anyways, that started to really take my attention about Beyonce. But then also, like, her, like, well, it was like the imperfections thing. And so I think that wrapped into also like her not really participating with interviews and stuff like that, um, because it's like now I gotta focus on, oh, my image. Like when I'm doing an interview, if I'm doing an interview, the focus is how I sound, how I look, how I'm talking, what am I saying, da 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 da. When really my craft is my music, it's my dancing, it's my business etiquette in relation to my creativity. And so I ain't got no time or no energy to focus on curating, this image. And I got to put now more work into like, oh, I'm doing this interview. So, a lot of energy goes into that. And especially you're going to be all over all the networks and the internet. That's a lot of energy to take to put into that when she has obviously a craft, you know, obviously. So stepping away from that task of focusing on interviews and stuff like that and trying to be something so nicely put together for the TV versus or stepping away from that in order to, be internally focused on her craft and then to like showcase it, with her shows and with her concerts and with her albums and stuff. I just like easily took to that. And so, and you know what that does? It makes her showcases, it makes her releases more valuable, because now it's like you're not always going to get her. And everybody knows this. She got kids now, she got a husband now. You're not always going to get her. So what she gives to you, you're going to cherish it, versus somebody who's always in the media, always focused on being seen and whatever. And I just feel like with the Life Path 5, you ain't got to try to be seen. You're going to be seen because you are change in motion. And the only thing that is constant is change. Change is always occurring and it's always necessary. It's always required in some way, shape, type, or form. And so I think for myself, I think I don't know. I guess I'm in a space of like accepting that and like owning that. And having to realize that, like, you know, because I be hermiting, I be away from the world. Like when I told somebody, I said, when I'm away from work, when I'm off work, I'm shut off from the world because I give so much at work anyways. So I think I'm processing something right now. Like, yeah, and like, or let me refer to myself as Mystic. This is my channel, Mystic. Self-love Mystic. Like, yeah, Mystic, your craft is really tied into your work, 10th house again, like your, at least your external craft that's going to be recognized is going to really be tied into your career, your work, you know. And so in that space, the way you take care of that craft is going to be related to how you connect and relate to the external world, because that's 10th house energy. That's out there. That's Front Street. And so it's like, yeah, one way that I have begun to like take care of that is by, when I'm away, I'm away. I'm away from not just that workspace, but I'm away from the public. Yesterday I had to go to the store. Mind you, it was the second time I had to go to the store this weekend. I didn't like that. Usually I try to make I try to make it to where, like, if it's the weekend and I'm away from work, then I might have to leave home one time, you know. And so what had happened was I had waited too late. What was it? Oh, because it's like Saturday, I think. Well, I was off for more than Saturday. It was like a little extended weekend. But I think it was like one of them days I was just I wasn't feeling it. I didn't want to go out at all. And when I say go out, I mean to the grocery store or get gas. Like I just didn't want to go out of my door, my house. And so Saturday I had to though, because I had to get food. So I had to go grocery shopping. Okay. And some other stuff. And then, but I also had to go get water. But I only get my water from this specific place. I did not want to go. But I think it was more of a thing like I was tired. I had waited so long to go grocery shopping. Because I was waiting on my hunger to hit, but it wasn't hitting. So I was, I'm so silly. Like I was not feeling hungry on Saturday. And so I was like, oh, I was just chilling. And then of course, when I started moving about, I could feel my hunger. And so I ended up spending too much money grocery shopping because you're not supposed to shop when you're hungry. But I surely did. And I low-key balled out at the grocery store. But then also, so now I'm hungry. I'm like, I need to get back home. Like, I don't feel like spending no more money. Blah, 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 blah. I needed water. And I guess I wasn't tracking to like how much water I had left at home. So then when I realized I only had one bottle left of my water, I'm like, God damn, I'm gonna have to go back out again before work starts this week because I don't really go to the grocery store when I have to work out the week because I'm at work. I like to go home, nowhere else. Everybody be out and about. It's more possibility for accidents, all of that. And so I had to go yesterday, and it was just such the worst type of energy. Like I did not want to be outside. It was weird energy outside. People acting weird, driving weird. Lots of police everywhere. Like it was honestly a weird energy. It was like I'm supposed to be at home, but I ended up pushing back that task because I absolutely needed my water. So, anyways, I forget why I said that, but like, yeah, I usually try to, but okay, because I was just bringing up the fact that the energy just was not right for me to be outside amongst people. And I couldn't even fake it. Like, even usually I'm more open or whatever at the grocery store or whatever, but see that concept of being open, like, for me, if I'm out and about and amongst people, I prefer to be open. If I'm closed off, I prefer that I'm closed off at home. But if I'm interacting with people, I don't know. It's just a thing. I prefer to be not so interactive, like I'm looking to connect with people. But say if I'm, like I was at the grocery store and this man was also ended up in the aisle with me looking for vitamins or whatever. And I was in the mindset of please don't bother me, like people, please don't bother me, because something that be happening is people be going towards the areas that I be at. Like it's not, it's not. I'm not exaggerating. Um, and so this man now he ends up in the same aisle as me, and it's not surprising because I promise this type of stuff be happening. Like if I'm out and about, I can't stay to myself. Like people end up around me. It's sometimes it really gets on my nerves, but I'm more aware of it now, so I'm like not surprised. And so then he's standing next to me and then he's like, don't believe what they say. And I'm looking for my vitamins and I'm really stuck. But remember, I'm hungry. So my brain ain't really working properly. And I'm like taking a long time. I can't make a decision. And then he's standing next to me and he's trying to interact. And I'm like, so I'm like low energy and I'm like, yeah. And then he's like, yeah, I'm looking for zinc if you can see. I'm over here looking for what the fuck I'm looking for. You know what I mean? But I found the zinc immediately and I showed him to it. And then it was crazy because some other men passed by and they knew each other. So now I think I'm over here like, damn, we all about to end up in the aisle, the same aisle, huh? And so he said something else. And then I was like, I had to like respond. But I don't know. It was just, I didn't feel like interacting, but I know most of the time, if I go out and about, and I'm out long enough, or I'm in one spot for long enough, somebody's going to interact with me. And so, I don't, since I know that now, I like to be in a better energetic space than not. And so Sunday, when I had to go out again, I was over it. I was like, yeah. So the cashier trying to interact and how your day going? It's fine. I ain't even ask him in turn because I'm not trying to. I ain't supposed to be out here. I'm supposed to be at home. And it was just so annoying. Like I can tell, I can pick up on the energy. It was just so weird. So, anyways, I think all this kind of relates to me having to realize like my presence is a gift. And it's not an egotistical thing. It's just something to be aware of and to note as a fact. And if it's a gift, it's not like how Kanye said, my presence is a present, kiss my ass. It's not like that. It's not like that. It's just for me to understand. It is like how Jesus had to operate in the world. Like he knew he was going to be attracting flocks of people. So he knew how he had to travel. Like if he had to like be separate from the crowd, he had to kind of, remove himself. He had to slip away. He had to escape, because he also had to have his time to himself. Checking the time. Hold on. Okay, I got time. He also had to have his time to himself. He had to meditate. He had to pray. He had to commune with his angels. He had to, he had to recuperate. You can't. I'm not food for you. There might be spiritual food being fed to you through me in different ways, but I'm not the food, and you're not about to be a vulture and eat off me and leech off of me. Like, no. But he also knew, like, he was an energetic gift to the people. Oh my gosh. That hit. That just hit. I got chills. He was an energetic gift to the people, right? He was an energetic gift to the people. And so, again, it's not like, oh, I'm this celebrity or I'm this star. Like, people, it wasn't that he was admired. So it's not about admiration. I think I used to pray to be like admired. I take them prayers back. I don't know. No. He was admired, but also he was coveted. Like people wanted him, like, but for their benefit. It wasn't just to, there's that word appreciation. The word appreciation had come up in my mind, but also before I sat down to talk. So appreciation, I think that might have been something that was less common for people to experience with him. It was more like, what can you do for me? And it's like something inside of them that knows he has something inside of him that can do for them. Healing. Yeah, healing. Healing. That's the whole purpose. Healing. It's healing. That's why your presence is a gift, because it's a gift of healing. I'm writing it down. It's a gift of healing. And so, but again, it's not in this. So, okay, there's a piece there. Like, usually celebrities aren't about like, oh, I'm here to heal. Like, no, they be entertaining. They entertain and make you dance, or but music does heal. Music does help to heal. Not all music. Some music does the actual opposite, but I don't think it's usually in their minds like, oh, I'm here to heal. Like, no. But I do think now, focusing more on myself, I do think that's a part of my creation, of why I was created, or why I was, why I exist, is is to heal, but energetically, like just by being present, just by being in a space. And I think I breathe hard like that because it takes for me. And it's always been that way. It's not new. It's just I'm talking about it right now because I'm being pulled to talk about it. But even when I was placed into my adoptive family, it was like to heal, to heal, and I heal too. But that's the thing. It's like that's probably a part of the reason why my energy heals the spaces that I reside in, or the spaces where I am. But it's because I'm healing myself, right? Like I myself am healing. And so if you're healing, then things around you are going to also be impacted by that vibration. It's like a vibration of healing. Vibration of healing. So, people will come around you and stuff, not even knowing why they're pulled to you. But it's like something inside of them is needing that something inside of you. And so I think I'm just having to really own that and then digest it so that I understand it thoroughly, because I haven't understood it thoroughly. When I think about that and I know that it's already occurred throughout my life, it makes me, like I said, sigh heavy because it takes from me. It depletes me. It makes me feel drained sometimes. But I know also that's when that's when I'm doing too much, or when I'm giving too much, or when I'm letting somebody take too much. Like we're spending too much time together. I'm putting on, like I'm investing too much in this connection, like on top of already just energetically being there. Just being there. Just being. Because I don't think it has to be about me verbally saying something, It doesn't have to be about that. Sometimes that comes into play too, but I think this is to just let me know, like, even just your energy, just your presence alone will heal the spaces you occupy and the people around those spaces. And here's the thing, I like to think of healing with my first thought of healing, it'd be all like, oh, so it's a good thing, people gonna be, doing good because of no, it's not always a good thing, because not everybody really be open to healing. So I guess that's why I trigger a lot of negative responses in different ways, people gossiping or talking about me secretly or looking at me weird. I get weird looks. I don't pay attention to them really, so that's why it feels minuscule to me. It's like I don't really care, but I notice. That's why people act just out of pocket with me, or just weird, honestly. Just weird. Not right, I feel, because healing hurts. Healing does hurt. It's like, you break a bone or whatever. You broke the bone, and yes, that hurts. But let's say now we got to put the bone back into place. We got to give you surgery. We got to do all this stuff. It hurts. So with that, it makes me go, okay, you heal, you bring healing to spaces, but what that means is now we are uncovering wounds. We are taking stuff out from under the rugs that's just been swept under. We are ripping off the band-aids. We are snatching people's masks off. Remember, it's the construction and destruction at the same time for the sake of change. So yeah, it's like unmasking people, ripping off band-aids, setting shit straight. And that's like popping a joint back into place. Like, okay, yeah, afterwards it's gonna be better, but it still hurts. And a lot of people don't be about that spiritual, emotional, energetic pain. They numb themselves out with medicine. The doctors numb them out with medicine. They numb themselves out with alcohol, with smoking. I think that's why that lesson for me when I was at my other job where I was drinking and smoking, it was like, this ain't helping. So I got sick, you know. It's like, no, your presence still gonna heal, but you're not replenishing now. So I was wasting away because I was smoking and drinking. So how am I healing? And so it was like overload leeching. Like I was leeching from myself, kind of, in a way. But what time is it? Yeah, so I guess I don't know. I feel like one of the this is gonna be something for me to really pull apart, because I feel like a part of the thing is, if your presence is a gift of healing, then all the more reason for you to take care of yourself. All the more reason for you to put yourself first. All the more reason for you to live by yourself. Because that's something too, like, it's hard for me to live with somebody, to sleep next to somebody. It's like, I just feel like anytime I'm around others, I will be the one getting depleted. And again, it is like Jesus. Nobody was pouring into Jesus except his angels. Nobody else was pouring into him. I mean, they had Mary and Martha. I think Martha like cleaned his feet and stuff. But even he had to bring her attention to that because she was going off about Mary. It was either Mary going off about Martha or Martha going off about Mary. I think it was Martha going off about Mary. She's like, she's not helping me, or it was something like that. Oh, I think it was Mary taking care of him. But then Martha was saying, like, she needs to help me cook for you or something like that. And he was like, you just need to embrace my presence right now. Like, I'm here for you. I used to think of it in an egotistical way, like, what the hell he's saying? Like, she needs to, it's all about you. But I think it's because, again, his presence was a gift of healing. And so Mary understood that. So she's showing appreciation for the gift of healing, where Martha was wanting to work, when it's like, no, this is the time that you take a break. Like, this is like a once in a lifetime kind of deal. Like, get your healing. I'm here for that right now, you know. So yeah, but most of the time, nobody's pouring into him. That's why he was so connected to angels, because he had to get that from his angels, from spirit. That's why he was one with God, because he needed his too, because his purpose was his healing presence, you know. And so I think for myself, I just feel resonance to that type of existence. And I feel like what that means is there's no shame in taking care of myself, resting. I think it could be a call too. Like, I do rest a lot, but I think it also be a call to like doing more for myself. I think it's also a nod to fueling myself properly, just making sure I am good, because that's what it is. It's not no control. It's not no on or off button. If I'm in a space, there's healing taking place. And we all have our roles, and my role is a conduit of healing just because you're there. So, yeah, interesting. So it's like, because that part is already occurring, like I don't have no control over that. That's the energy, that's the spirit, that's the purpose of my soul. So then my duty then becomes to take care of myself. And it's not a matter of being selfish. It's a matter of making sure I am good. I am healthy. I am replenished. I am loved. I am happy. I am content. Yeah, I love that. I love that. So, yeah, I just really love that. That message. Wow, I just really needed that. And I really do love that. Okay, I'm going to go now because I do got to eat a little something and get ready. See, got to take care of myself. So, there might be more to talk about regarding that subject, I'm sure. I'm just limited on time because I do have to work, which I should be taking some time off, but I'm gonna figure out. I think I might take more time off this week and figure out how to. I don't know if can I do my vacation? I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, thank you for listening. That was such a beautiful message. I am so happy I tapped into that because I needed that. It's like another level of understanding regarding my spiritual journey, aka my mystic path. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Till next time. Thank you. Bye.